Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at Sober.Coffee Pod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
Ready to binge?
Binge listen.
Binge listen. Hey, so we're doing a updated Behind the Counter right here.
Yes, we are. I understand. Season 2.
Season 2.
I originally said year 2, and I got corrected because the proper language in Podcastville is season 2.
Yes.
We just completed our 1-year anniversary party, where we did. They say that the key in podcast world is just to keep it on, survive, right? Just keep on posting episodes. And that's what we did. We posted 70 episodes in the last year.
So one a week, but then we threw in some bonus drops.
Had some good bonus ones in there, some good guests.
We had some really good guests. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah,
right?
We got good stuff planned for season 2, but what we thought we'd do is just kind of a trailer, right? Just kind of circle around and do it behind the counter. It's funny because we did one right when we started a year ago. We did it behind the counter, and it's probably a lot different.
Yeah, well, the energy is probably different because we knew nothing about what we were embarking on a year ago.
I was like, what's this
nothing.
thing in front of me? Oh, it's a mic.
Yeah, right. Hey, that's Mike is in front of you. Get it?
I have several mics in front of me, including you.
Yeah, you're seeing 2 mics, you got a problem.
That's awesome.
So, want to touch base on a couple of things. Again, season 1 behind us. Looking forward to season 2.
Amen.
Yeah, I'm on a short 2-year contract. So, spoiler alert, by the way, just for those that are embarking with us on season 2, we stay sober. So, I mean, if you're looking for the car to crash, I'm hoping that's not going to happen this year.
Well, it's funny because one of the things when I was drinking, one of the things I could not do and I could never do was keep a commitment, right?
And look at you now.
I know. Well, that's one of the things that, I kind of reflected in my one-on-one time. And I said, hey, that's one of the things I committed to you. You committed to me. And guess what? We both deliver on it.
Yeah, right.
Which is rare when I was drinking.
Yeah, sure.
Sure,
I'll be there.
Yeah, sure. I'll be there. Yeah, I'll commit for 5 years and not show up the second week.
Right. So, but we
didn't miss a week, by the way. We didn't miss one week. Not one episode did we miss. So congrats on that.
Yeah, and let's start with the reason behind it. The reason why we do this. We don't do it for commercial success or gain. We don't do it for financial gain. We don't do it for our own egos. Our goal when we sat down at a literal coffee shop a little over a year ago was to provide an opportunity for somebody who's out online looking for hope and some kind of answer that there is hope in recovery. And so our goal, as we text back and forth during the week and talk about our episodes and upcoming episodes, etc., is always #1, #1. We just want, and that's my goal going into season 2 is we reach one more person who needs hope.
I think that's great, Mike. And I mean, we set out in that, and frankly, I knew early on that we met that goal because I was being helped.
Right.
And then when you were sharing the same thing, you were being helped. So there's 2 people, and we've had the privilege of hearing from folks, out in social media and, listeners, and they've been helped also.
True story.
So
they've helped
really
us
cool.
with their encouraging messages.
But it's really amazed me. I mean, I have a social media account, a Twitter account that's been out there for, I don't know, 10 years or so, focused on sobriety, right? But I mean, we have really dove in this last year, and I am amazed at how broad the community of sober people is. And they have a new term out there called sober curious.
Oh, yeah. Right.
People that are, maybe we at some point call them the people that put the toe in the water, right?
Right.
Sober curious. And we just came out of, we're in April 22 right now, right? But we just came out of dry January. Now you got people that say, well, maybe I'm going to do dry first quarter, right? Now I'm seeing dry April, right? So, I mean, there's not a shadow of a doubt, man, that alcohol ruins lives.
Right.
It ruined my life. It ruined your life. And we've heard a lot of stories of other lives that it's ruined. Right. And people are out there searching. And there's people who, they don't like AA. They don't, they're scared of AA. They don't know anything about it. They hear it's a cult. And then they hear about all these other programs and they're confused, right? So what we want to be is a place for people to land and just say, hey, it's okay. Listen to our stories as we share experience, strength, and hope with other people on the sober path. We have tools, we have tips, we have tricks. Sometimes once in a while we have a joke. Somebody even said that Mike was funny.
No, they said we were funny. I'm sure they were referring to you. But no, you bring up a great point, because who we are two guys that found our solution in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, right? And so we can speak to that experience. But what we learned over the past 12 months is that AA is not the only game in town. It is not the only solution. The people have gotten successfully recovered from struggles with alcoholism with other programs. And so one of the things we're launching in season 2 here is a series that brings on people from other that have either augmentation of AA or alternative to AA. And we're bringing them on because, as Glenn said, we want to be that place that is focused on recovery and sobriety, not specifically Alcoholics Anonymous, though that's going to be naturally where our go-to is, right?
Well, that's where our stories are.
That's where our stories
right? So
are,
when we share our story and our experiences, I mean, I've tried other things that didn't work.
Right.
So that's why I'm kind of excited about the 12-step program, because I finally found something that worked. Right. However, there are other people out there where AA, the 12 steps, did not work for them for whatever reason. Right? But other programs worked as well for them as AA did for us. So, hey, that's great. So our mantra, and we just kind of, we're just chatting about it. Our mantra is we are pro-sobriety.
Right.
We are pro-sober. If somebody's trying to get sober, if you're sober curious, if you just want to chat, reach out to us. Here in a second, we'll talk about all our handles and stuff. Or ats.
Yeah.
Then I call it
handles. That's like a 70 CB.
That's a CB radio,
10,
right.
10-4, good buddy.
No. God, we were old. But, really pro-sobriety. And we have such a passion for people that are out there just trying to find that next step. And one thing, because Mikey runs our website, Sober.Coffee, and we'll talk about that here in a second. And I do the social media, and yeah, I know I could do a lot better job, so thanks. But one of the things that really sticks out to me is how many similarities we have amongst each other. People that are struggling, people that are curious, people that are seeking. Seeking's a great word. How can I get through this weekend without being hung over again? Sure. I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if you spend some time and you don't look at the differences, right? Because there's differences out there, but I don't care about the differences. I learn from the similarities. And it's amazing how much this has helped me over the last year, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So let's talk about some of the ways that the one thing that jumped out at me when you were talking, especially about our core desire to just help the next person on the sober path, is we don't have all the answers. I mean, anybody who's listened to our podcast realizes we don't have all the answers,
and we have all those disclosures at the end.
And we have the disclosures, right? So. But if you've got suggestions, we'd love to hear about how do people get in touch with us if they've got a suggestion or they've got an alternative or they've got an idea or a resource.
Great question. Several different ways,
okay,
Mikey. One is we are on Instagram, and our at Instagram is Sober.Coffee Podcast. We're on there regularly. We post a couple times a week. We post about our episodes. We post pictures of you here in the studio.
Yeah.
So that's where for Instagram, it's Sober.Coffee Podcast. For Twitter, it's at Sober.Coffee Pod, P-O-D.
That's all that was available?
Dude, that's how it was.
Okay, all right. Say it again, though, just for...
At Sober.Coffee Pod.
Okay.
And then I also have a Twitter account that's focused on sobriety, and that is at Stay Sober Today.
Oh, that's strong. I like that.
And then our email for the show,
Yes.
and this is a confidential email, meaning a lot of email addresses have people's first and last names. You know, we are not going to give out anybody's last name. It is totally confidential. But our confidential show email is podcast@sober.coffee.
Right. There you go. And all those are listed on the website. If you go to the website at sober.coffee, so not sober.coffee.com, just sober.coffee, go to the website and then do the About Us, and you'll see, and also in the resource room, it has links to our Instagram, Twitter, and email.
Yeah, so as you listen to the podcast, there's reference to, I mean, there's probably is not an episode that goes by where we don't mention some resource.
Right.
Those resources are on the resource page.
Real time.
Thank you, Mikey, for real time. Real time on Sober.Coffee website.
Right. And that includes...
And all of our episodes are listed there, A to Z.
That's right. That's right.
With some sexy graphics.
well, let's just leave it at with some graphics. by the way, if anybody's got a graphical bent and you'd like to do some service work for the show,
amen.
We've got an application for you.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So yeah, that's a good point. Also on the email on the website is a chance to drop your email in there. As you mentioned before, we don't sell the information. What we'll do is we'll just pass along information we have that's podcast related, a new drop, ideas, suggestions, resources. We'll just, we won't inundate you. We don't have time to inundate you, but we'll occasionally send out emails to keep you abreast of what's going on in our little community.
That's great. And there's also a link for the Coffee Kitty if you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee.
That's right.
There's a link on the website for the Coffee Kitty. It's GoFundMe. You can just drop in there.
How does the whole funding of this thing happen, Glenn?
Well, it started out, we had a group, and there's probably 30 or so folks who ponied up the initial money. And then throughout the year, you and I have been contributing, and that's fantastic. The one thing that we wanted to point out is we have no financial gain from this.
Right.
And not just that, but we've had a couple conversations and opportunities throughout the year to have some sponsorships, right? We had some external sponsorships that had nothing to do with sobriety, but they loved what we're doing and they had a good audience and let's sponsor. And we said no. And we've had some folks in the sobriety world that have wanted to sponsor and kind of, and we selectively said for season 1 and for season 2, no, we're not going to do that. Our feeling is it waters down the message. Our feeling is it disrupts the message. And we want it to be just sober-focused stuff, sober solutions. Nobody's making money off anything. There's no hidden agendas. We're just trying to help the next person down the sober path.
All right. Point made. Good stuff.
And
yes,
just to point out for season 1, we really want to thank our guests for season 1. We've got guests already lined up for season 2. We're super excited about. Guests include people just come on and share their story of experience, strength, and hope. We've had some great ones.
Yeah, we've got some authors coming up in season 2 from some really good
very
recovery
well-known
books.
authors and just some really good stuff. So that helps us fill in between your banter and my banter, right?
Which gets old.
It does.
Even
for us.
That's right.
So that's great. And then one last thing that I think, takes significant mention is our brother Brian at Audio
Amen.
Hive.
Yeah.
This obviously started as a business type of transaction, but Brian's really become, in my mind and our minds, a brother, and he's walked the path with us. He makes sure we sound as good as we can sound. And, he has never missed a click.
Yep.
And he is right on time. And Brian, love you, man. Really appreciate your support through season 1 and season 2. The way the word on the street, there's a new studio being painted.
That's right. Yeah. So let me pile on Brian for a second. So Audio Hive, if you go to our website, you go to About Us, you'll see the paragraph on Audio Hive. But seriously, if podcasts are, I was mentioning in our anniversary special that there was when we started this, there was identifiable, maybe a few dozen recovery podcasts, and now there's hundreds of recovery podcasts, right? But if you're looking to get into the podcast space and you need some technological help, click on that link in the resource room. And Brian, thanks for all you do, man.
So he's really concerned about. Brian's concerned about the new studio colors.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because I understand it's not just going to be audio, but it's going to be video.
Oh.
So he wants to make sure it's got the right color ambiance, the color scheme, and all that. So, some of these days, one of these days, you might hit audio. Who knows?
Video.
We might hit video with the audio.
With the audio.
Yep.
What else we got to cover behind the counter?
Well, we also want to say thank you to you two for not suing us for
you. Yeah, that's right. The funny thing is, and we'll wrap this up here in a second. But the funny thing is, when we started, we wanted to do everything above board. So I went through the licensing thing, and I reached out to him, and I'm like, we just want to use you for 8 seconds. I
did the same. I reached out to him, never heard anything.
Crickets.
But the research I found is that you are welcome to use their material as long as there's no financial gain.
Right.
So we can certainly document that.
Yeah.
So, but
if there's the lawyer in the room, again, we'll take your application. We could use some legal advice.
Totally. But I love the song because that's my personal song.
Right. Sing a new song.
I will sing a new song.
Yeah. And lastly, I'm going to close out with the disclaimers, and I won't repeat them really fast like you hear in a medical commercial. But look, we're just two guys on the road to recovery. That's all we are, and we try and share our experience, what we learned, and try and pass that along. But depression is a real deal. Drug addiction is a real deal. Alcoholism is a real deal.
Mental illness is a real deal.
I don't think you're going to get all your answers from Sober.Coffee. You're certainly not going to get all your answers from Sober.Coffee, but you'll hear us chime in that we encourage you to reach out for professional help as well. Just reach out for help. Period. Start there, and hopefully you end up with a professional.
That's great, man. I can't wait for season 2.
Spoiler alert.
Season 2. Excellent.
All right, man. Thanks, Glenn.
Love you, brother.
All right,
thanks, Brian.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@sober.coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.